one in the Limited Sportsman Division. These are the lower point cars that are eligible for the main event in the Limited Sportsman Division. On the pole, driving the number one, is Dave Sprague. To his outside, the 96 is Jim Maycomber. They tell me it's Jim's birthday, so happy birthday also to Jim Maycomber. In the 107, it's Doug Shores. To his outside, the 08 is driven by Rodney Moody. The 60 on the inside is Lloyd Washburn. The 03, Steve Howard. The 76 is Earl Glidden. The 65, Rocky Argo. 17 is driven by Jim Burt. 94 by Dave Oliver. I'm ready for a start. Out of turn 4. Junior Niles on the flag stand. Green flag is in the air. Side by side, it is Sprague and Maycomber racing the front stretch to turn 1 for our first qualifying heat. Spin by Richard Olin right at the start. He keeps the car under power and obviously working out a little frustration, but he keeps the car going, keeps us under green as Dave Sprague leads them down for the first heat. Doug Shores in a spin in the 1 and 2 turn. We'll have to see if he's able to restart the 107 and keep us under green. He has backed the car into the infield, apparently with some mechanical difficulty. We'll have to wait and see if we are able to stay under green. Another spin by Maycomber right out of turn 3, and we are under caution with 1 lap down here in the first qualifying heat of the evening. We'll revert back to the last lap run under green, which was lap 1, and have a quick realignment. 1 lap down in this first qualifying heat of the evening in the Limited Sportsman Division. 12 cars to qualify for the main event. The rest will have to come back in a consolation event. Assistant starter Junior Niles on the flag stand for this first qualifying heat. It's Dave Sprague on the pole, green flag. And Steve Howard out of the first on the outside position jumps into a quick lead from that second place spot. Quickly takes over the lead. So you're a new leader. After 1 lap is Steve Howard in the 03. Then comes Dave Sprague in the number 1. The 65 is Rocky Yargo. The 08 is Rodney Moody. And the 60 is Lloyd Washburn, the top 5 in this first qualifying heat. 12 cars to qualify. Racing on the outside now, rookie Earl Glidden, and another rookie right at his back bumper, the 83 of Steve Carrier, looking to make the qualifying lineup tonight. Keep your eyes on these youngsters working on the outside. They both have run quite impressively as rookies here in a very tough Limited Sportsman Division with a lot of good cars. Beaver Norton also looking into the outside groove, trying to advance to the front, as is Robbie Dorr back in the pack. Last qualifying car right now appears to be the 25 of Kevin Buck. Remember, only 12 cars to qualify. Steve Howard has put some distance on the second place competitor Sprague. Sprague is being pressured now by Rocky Yargo in the 65, and then some distance back to the 4th place competitor, Rodney Moody, trying to hold off Lloyd Washburn in the number 60. Then on the move once again is Glidden in the 76 as he races to the outside of Jim Burt in the 17. Young Earl Glidden out of Westbrook, Maine, rookie this year in the number 76. Working to the outside of a veteran Limited Sportsman driver, Jim Burt, in the number 17, as they race side-by-side, slight advantage by the 76 of Earl Glidden. Still trying to work his way completely by Does as he reaches the 1 turn. Cars will be approaching the halfway mark next time by, and it continues to be a comfortable lead by Steve Howard in the 03. Then comes Dave Sprague, Rocky Yargo, Rodney Moody, and Washburn now working to the inside of the 08 of Rodney Moody, trying to overtake that 4th place position, and just may do it as he does down through the 3 and 4 turn, taking over the 4th place. Lloyd Washburn in the number 60. Glidden moves to the inside to take over 5th as they take advantage of the 08 of Moody moving out into that second groove. 3 abreast racing down the backstretch now as all the drivers are jockeying position. The 55 gets out of shape, spins, and is collected up by the 44 of Terry Brown. 55 is Mark Bernier out of Westbrook. He gets back underway, but lost a lot of valuable time. And will undoubtedly put him back to the running of the consolation event a little bit later in the evening. Leader continues to be the 03, Steve Howard. Just seems to be able to put all kinds of distance on the rest of the pack. Rocky Yargo now in second place in the number 65. Then comes Dave Sprague, Lloyd Washburn, Earl Glidden for your top 5. 12th place appears to be a battle shaping up between Beaver Norton, the 61 of Scott Johnson, the 19 of Weeks. It'll be just 2 to go. 2 laps to go. White flag in the air for Steve Howard in the 03. Then some distance back, the second place competitor under the white flag is Rocky Yargo, Dave Sprague, Lloyd Washburn, and the 76 of Glidden for the top 5 in tonight's first qualifying heat. Checkered flag flies for Steve Howard with an impressive run here tonight in the first qualifying heat. 03 definitely a car to watch in the main event coming up later on in the evening. Cars tangle off over the 3 and 4 turn, and that shakes up the lineup just a little bit. Remember, only 12 cars qualify for the feature event out of this first qualifying heat. Steve Howard coasts down to the start-finish line to receive a picture and little congratulations there from the flagman and Danny Walker. The 03 of Steve Howard. Right now we're ready to start the first qualifying heat out of turn 4. Flagman Eddie Walsh on the stand for this qualifying heat. Green flag is in the air as Beech jumps into a quick lead over Gary Pulsiver. Pulsiver tries to fight back on the outside. Joe Bowser coming up the inside, and here comes Bobby Babb on the outside along with Kurt Gary. Jay Johnson gets out of shape down the backstretch. Spins the car, seems to collect it back up again. Keeps us under green. Also Al Bursett down off over the 4 turn. He keeps it running. Meanwhile, back up front, Gary Pulsiver making a challenge on the outside of the number 40 of Mitch Brown. They race side by side down the 3 and 4 turn. Out of the 4 turn down the front stretch, Pulsiver takes over the lead at the start-finish line. Gary Pulsiver in the 27, your new leader. Here comes Bobby Babb right on his bumper to the outside of Mitch Brown, taking over the second place spot as they race to the 3 turn. Cars on the move in the outside groove. Here comes Kurt Gary in the 88, defending late model track champion Mike Johnson in the 33, also on the move. Definitely cars to watch. The 32, also a feature winner this year. Have a car off the track in the 4 turn, but he's back underway. That is Carl Latane, as he has refired the car and moves it back onto the speedway. Bobby Babb slips by the 27 in the 1 and 2 turn. Your new leader is Bobby Babb out of Wyndham, Maine in the number 4. Side-by-side racing now shaping up for the 3rd through the 6th position. Almost 3 wide down the front stretch as Mike Johnson looked to race between cars, couldn't quite do it. Kurt Gary on the move as he takes over the 3rd place position down the backstretch. Here comes Mike Johnson trying to take over 4th as he works to the outside of the 40 of Mitch Brown. And he does it. Race shaping up now for 5th as Joe Bowser works to the outside of the number 40. Joe Bowser with an impressive run about a week ago here, taking a late model sportsman feature event. Mike Johnson on the move as he moves to the inside of the 88 of Kurt Gary. Car spins. It's Jay Johnson spinning once again off over the 1 and 2 turn. 2 laps to go this time by Bobby Babb, your leader. Then comes Gary Pulsiver, Mike Johnson, Kurt Gary, and Joe Bowser for your top 5 competitors. White flag is in the air for this first qualifying heat as Bobby Babb experiences mechanical difficulty, has to coast right to the outside. A tough break for Bobby Babb, was running so strong, and that hands the lead over to Gary Pulsiver in this last lap. Checkered flag will be flying this time for Gary Pulsiver, collecting the first qualifying heat. Then Mike Johnson, Kurt Gary, Joe Bowser, and Mitch Brown for the top 5 in this first qualifying heat of the evening in the late model sportsman division. First qualifying heat for the modifieds are on the track now. On the pole, the number 90 is driven by Kevin Tobias. To his outside, the number 6 is Clint Rowell. The number 5 is Pete Rondo. To his outside, the 80 is Scott Watts. Then comes the number 21, returning to racing here at Beech Motor Speedway is Dave Lamprin. Lou Weatherby in the number 3. The 24 is Jimmy Emerson. The 2 is Jim Culprit. Green flag flies out of turn 4. Clint Rowell to the outside and Kevin Tobias to the inside as they race side by side through the 1 and 2 turn. Correction, I think I said it was the 3, it is the 8. That would be Glenn Cusack in the number 8. Nice job being done by Kevin Tobias as he continues to lead this first qualifying heat. Trying to hold off 2 hard charges now. Pete Rondo to his outside and Dave Lamprin to his inside as they race side by side for the second place position. Lamprin to the inside, right to the back bumper of Kevin Tobias. Pete Rondo working the outside as he looks to the outside of the number 90 of the rookie Kevin Tobias. Tobias has done a nice job coming up from the limited sportsman division. Kevin Tobias in the number 90, your leader. He was runner-up in the limited sportsman division last year and made the transition to the open wheel modifieds and has done a nice job of it this year. Pete Rondo now on the move as he races side by side with Tobias out of the 4 turn. Side by side they cross the finish line and side by side into turn 1. Pete Rondo already a feature winner here in the number 5. Strong runner, rookie of the year last year in the modified division. Side by side racing has been so characteristic of a lot of these modified races. Speeds approaching the high 90s are quite consistent. And the drivers do a nice job of racing side by side, wheel to wheel. Once again, out of turn 4, Pete Rondo trying it once again. He's side by side down the front stretch. As the rookie Kevin Tobias does a nice job of leading this first qualifying heat. Rondo on the move now as he takes a slight advantage into turn 3. Tobias races back on the inside. They're side by side once again out of turn 4 down the front stretch. Slight advantage by Pete Rondo that time as they went to the 1 turn, but Tobias fights back on the inside. Once again, it's Rondo with an advantage to the outside. Can't quite get the entire car by as Tobias fights back on the inside. Rondo once again, it looks like he might do it this time as he races to the 1 turn. Cars touch just a bit. They do a nice job of holding it. Here comes the youngster out of Seabrook, New Hampshire in the F80 as he tries to take over the second place position. White flag is in the air, meaning only 1 lap to go. Scott Watts on the move, trying to take over second place as Kevin Tobias literally slides the car into turn 1. Reminiscent of dirt tracking is Kevin Tobias. The rookie in the number 90 doing a nice job of handling that modified. Checkered flag flies for Pete Rondo. Collecting the first qualifying heat in the modified division. A nice run by Pete Rondo out of Saco, Maine in the Pete's True Value Riverside Trailer in Winnebago modified. A car to watch in the feature event, very definitely. Z28 Kevin Durgan. The 111 Pee Wee Knight. And the number 2, the current point leader, Brad Layton. Flagman Eddie Welch says, pick it up just a little bit, gentlemen. We're looking for a start out of turn 4. Green flag flies as the cars come down to a very slow start and literally have to drag out of turn 4. And the advantage goes to Rick Verrill in the 64 as he works right off that outside pole position. Takes the lead right at the start. And your second place competitor is Steve Winslow. Remember, only 12 cars to qualify. Cars tangle in the 2 turn. Looks like the 48 of Tom Bragg and the 88 of Mike Field. Rick Verrill, your leader. Then comes Steve Winslow, side-by-side racing for 3rd place. Chuck Haynes to the inside. Dennis Quinn to the outside. The youngster in the 06 has already been a feature winner here this year. Ron Smith running strong in the number 49. Then comes Robbie Herrick, also a youngster who has won a feature here this year in the 86. Very, very even competition in this second qualifying heat. Any number of cars capable of winning this heat or a feature event. But only 12 cars will qualify. The rest will run in the Consi. Comfortable lead by Rick Verrill in the 64. those top cars running side by side, and that's allowing the leaders to have kind of an easy time of it so far. First place competitor Verrill, second place competitor Winslow, really not too much pressure on them. But from third position on back, it's going to be a dogfight for those top 12 positions. A lot of top cars want to qualify, and they have quite a distance to go. Bubba Pelton racing to the outside of Ron Smith now, trying to make that outside groove work. Nice job being done by Chuck Haynes and Ron Smith. Holding off the hard-charging Bubba Pelton. They'll be coming to the halfway mark next time by. This 15-lap heat. And it continues to be a comfortable lead by Rick Verrill. Bubba Pelton on the move on the outside as he works now to the outside of Chuck Haynes, trying to take over that third place position. Donnie Morse on the move on the outside, as is Dennis Quinn. Three wide racing now in the three turn as some of the high point men are desperately trying to work their way to the front. The 86 of Robbie Herrick. Three wide, and that's a tough move. Cars tangle in the 1 and 2 turn. Mike Mieta Jr. and Danny Palmer get together. They do a nice job of keeping the cars straight. Looks like the battle for the last qualifying position is between the number 3 of Mike Mieta Jr. and the 93 of Danny Palmer. Here comes Joey Eastman to make it three wide, racing again down the backstretch. Joey Eastman to the inside, Mike Mieta in the middle, and Danny Palmer to the outside as they race three abreast. Joey Eastman makes the move work as he works himself into a qualifying position. Looks like the battle now is between Eastman and the number 8 and Danny Palmer in the 93. Now Kevin Durgan looks to get into that battle now as he races to the back bumper of the number 8. Has to back off just a little bit in the corner. It'll be 2 laps to go next time by, so those drivers back in the back, if they're going to make a move, they're going to have to make it fast. 2 laps to go. Bubba Pelton now is continually closed the gap on the number 10 of Steve Winslow. Looks like the 75 may be the last qualified car. He slips a bit. Here comes Huey Knight. Looked like Herrick got up against the wall. Spin by the 93 of Danny Palmer, one of the top running limited sportsmen. They're under the white flag in their last lap this time by. Danny Palmer trying to restart the car. Doesn't look like he's going to do it. They're in their last lap. Checkered flag in the air for the 64 of Rick Verrill as he collects the second qualifying heat. Bubba Pelton makes it to second. Then comes Winslow, Haynes, and a real tight battle for fifth between Ron Smith and Butch Buzzell. We'll have to see. They have Ron Smith, your fifth place finisher on the leaderboard. Flagman Eddie Walsh looking for a start out of turn 4 with Cusack on the pole. Green flag flies. Side-by-side racing to the start-finish line with Cusack to the inside, Kenny Lund to the outside. Kenny Lund with a slight advantage in turn 2 as he takes over the lead out of turn 2 down the backstretch. Nice move by Kenny Lund in the Hank Snowman prepared number 1. Brand new chassis to that team. Improving every week. These are your high point limited late model sportsmen. Kenny Lund leading the way in the number 1. Then comes Glenn Cusack, Kerry Winslow. Side-by-side battle for fourth with Bobby Harrison to the inside, Ricky Harrison to the outside. Also side-by-side battles now right back through the pack as Mike Mieta and the 56 of Andy Lude both look for racing room, as do the other top competitors as they're kind of boxed in here in this side-by-side racing. Kenny Lund making a strong showing here tonight in the number 1 as he begins to put a little distance now on Kerry Winslow, who has slipped to the inside to race side-by-side with Glenn Cusack. Winslow with a slight advantage in the 49. Youngster's been running strong this year in the 49. Definitely a car to watch. Seems to be improving almost every week. It'll be the halfway mark this time by. 5 down and 5 to go as they cross the start-finish line. Very tight points battle shaping up in all the divisions. And you can see why. Cusack fights back on the outside now as he gets a good bite in the two-turn. Side by side, once again with a slight advantage to Cusack at the start-finish line, trying to retake second spot that had been captured by Kerry Winslow. The two Harrisons right to the back bumper of the 49 and the number 2, looking for racing room. All cars in this race definitely capable of winning a feature event. Several feature event winners in the field, and the others certainly looking for their turn. It'll be 2 to go this time by. Kenny Lund continues to maintain his comfortable lead over Glenn Cusack, who has recaptured his second place spot. Now the side-by-side battle with Kerry Winslow to the inside and Ricky Harrison to the outside for the third spot. Ricky Harrison on the move as he takes a slight advantage. White flag in the air, 1 lap to go. Ricky Harrison taking over the third place spot. Winslow fighting back on the inside, not going to let him do it easily. Side by side down the backstretch. The battle is for third. Checkered flag in the air for Kenny Lund collecting his qualifying heat. And the first qualifying heat of this 1990 season for Kenny Lund in a brand new chassis to that team. And it looks like they're improving on it every week. Nice round of applause for Kenny Lund in the main linoleum, number 1, owned by Hank and Linda Snowman, sponsored by Main Linoleum and Village Inn Family Restaurant. On the pole, behind the wheel of the number 3 is Lou Weatherby, last week's feature winner, and a winner now of 2 feature events already in the 1990 season. To his outside will be the 89 of Spike Manitow. Second on the inside, 2-time defending champion David Pinkham behind the wheel of the number 61. To his outside, a former champion in the modified division, the number 1 is driven by Willie Elliott. Third row on the inside, the 50 out of Barrington, New Hampshire is Bobby Gahan. To his outside will be the 29 driven by Tommy Oliver, already a feature winner. 16 is Mike Mayetta, and that fills out the field. Mayetta, of course, doing double duty in the late model and the modified, and making that quick transition from the modified to the late model. Flagman Eddie Waltz says we're ready for a start out of turn 4. Green flag is in the air, and Lou Weatherby jumps into a quick lead. Spike Manitow battling back on the outside. David Pinkham races to the back bumper of the number 3. Manitow on the move on the outside, as is Willie Elliott. Cars all stacked up side by side now. Very even competition in this modified division. For those of you who were here last week, you saw one of the most exciting races of the year as Lou Weatherby came on in the last lap to overtake Bobby Gahan and win by inches right at the start-finish line. And he's back to try to collect up another win here in his qualifying heat as he takes command of this second qualifying heat, the High Point Modifieds at this point in the season. Lou Weatherby. Then comes David Pinkham, side-by-side racing with Spike Manitow working to the outside of Bobby Gahan. Cars get a little bit out of shape in the one-turn. Spike Manitow takes the third-place position to himself, putting Gahan to 4th. Willie Elliott coming to the outside now, looking for racing room, has to back off just a little bit. All the cars jockeying for position on the back end of the pack here, trying to find the lane that'll work for them. They'll be coming to the halfway point this time by. Spike Manitow trying to make his car work in the outside groove to the outside of the 61. 61 looking to the inside of the number 3 of Lou Weatherby now. Weatherby going just a little wide as Pinkham sticks the nose in and has to back out of it. Couldn't quite do it that time by. Keep your eyes on the 61 and the 89 as they continue to put the heat to the back bumper of the number 3 of Lou Weatherby. David Pinkham once again as the car of Weatherby seems to go a little wide in the turn, opening up that inside lane in the turn, and 61 looks to take advantage. Just 2 laps to go this time by. Continues to be the number 3 of Lou Weatherby, sponsored in part by Channel One Video, along with Forest City Chevrolet and Atlas Towing out of Wyndham, Maine, continuing to hold off the 2-time defending champion. As the white flag flies, it continues to be the 3 of Lou Weatherby, with right at his back bumper, David Pinkham, then Spike Manitoul working the outside lane, Bobby Gahan and Mike Mayetta. Here comes Willie Elliott to get into the fray. Checkered flag in the air as Lou Weatherby collects the second qualifying heat of the evening, holding off the hard-charging David Pinkham in the 61. Definitely a car to watch as Lou Weatherby brings the 1990 Cavalier Troyer chassis down to the start-finish line. The car is owned by Lou and Kim Weatherby, sponsored again by Atlas Towing, Forest City Chevrolet, Channel One Video out of Seabrook, New Hampshire, and definitely a car to watch each and every week as a potential feature winner. Semi-feature, the lower point cars in the limited sportsman division. On the pole, the 103 is Richard Ryder. The 77 on the outside is Rick Libby. The 59, Frank Scott. The 71, Scott Lucia. The 82, Jim Davis. The 104, Ed Strong. The 99, Jim Culprit. The 66, Trent Smith. 114, Dan White. The 09, Frank Collins. 74, Gary Adams. 79, Phil Weber. The 13, Ed Gallant. The 33, Robert Doak. The 183, Brad Clements. The 56, Robert Bodwell. The 105, Glenn Reynolds. The 87, Steve Perry. The 15, Don Tapley. Ready for a start out of turn 4. Green flag in the air. 77 of Rick Libby takes the lead right on the start. Cars tangle in the two-turn as Trent Smith and the 99 of Jim Culprit tangle coming out of turn 2. Cars hooked up, and it looks like that will bring out the caution flag right here in the first lap. So we'll be right back to an original start. And the 77 of Rick Libby on the front line. Assistant starter Junior Niles on the flag stand. Green flag is in the air as they race out of the 4-turn. '77 of Ricky Libby. Ricky Libby doing a nice job in the number 77 as he reestablishes the lead that he had taken on the original start, holding off the 104 of Ed Strong. Spin in the 4-turn involving several of the cars. It looks like the 01, the 09, and the 85, and that will put us back under a caution once again. And we are ready to restart our semi-feature with 2 laps down as the pace car from Pape Chevyland moves to the infield pit road. Now it is Ricky Libby in the 77 to the inside, looking to reestablish his lead over Ed Strong. Green flag flies out of turn 4, and once again Ricky Libby takes over the lead. He's followed now in second place by the 109 of Gary Sturdivant. The 114 working to the inside and the 104 to the outside. 114 is Dan White and the 104 is Ed Strong. Then comes the 79 of Phil Weber and the 66 of Trent Smith for your top half dozen here, racing for points primarily in the semi-feature. Cars racing 3 abreast in the 3-turn as Brad Clements in the 183 trying to work his way out around the field up into a top finishing position and collect up points. Flat tire in the 87 of Perry. Tough break for that youngster, Steve Perry, in the 87 taking the car to the pit area. Leader continues to be the 77 of Ricky Libby. Then comes Dan White in the 114. The 79 of Phil Weber's moved into 3rd. That moves the 104 of Ed Strong back to 4th. And the number 7 is Gary Hopper for your top 5. White is closing the gap on the 77 of Libby. Dan White now moves to the inside of the 77 of Libby and takes over the lead in the 1 and 2 turn down the backstretch. Your new leader is the 114, Dan White. Side-by-side racing for third with a 104 of Ed Strong, working the inside of Phil Weber in the 79. The 104 will look to the inside of the 77 as 77 gives up that inside lane. And the 104 of Strong moves to take over second place down the backstretch. Gary Hopper on the move in the number 7, halfway point. Cars get together in the 1 turn as the 7 of Harper moves to the inside of Libby, and they did a nice job of holding the cars. Dan White continues to be the leader in the 114. Ed Strong in the 104 closing the gap on the 114. The number 7 and 79 battling for third place. Number 7 is Stephen Renault. Number 7 is Stephen Renault as he races to the back bumper of the 104 and then had to slow up just a little bit. And the 104 is able to kind of reestablish a more comfortable lead over the number 7. White continues to be your leader. Ed Strong. Then the number 7 of Stephen Renault, the 79 of Phil Weber, and the 74 of Gary Adams, now your 5th place competitor. White flag, meaning only 1 lap to go. Checkered flag is in the air for Dan White in the 114 as he collects the semi-feature this evening. Holding off a fine run by Ed Strong in the number 104. Then the number 7, Stephen Renault, the 74 of Gary Adams, and the 79 of Phil Weber for the top 5 in tonight's semi-feature. As Dan White coasts down to the start-finish line to collect his trophy and flag for winning the semi-feature tonight. Dan White is out of Saco, Maine, driving a 74 Firebird, sponsored by the Saco Ace Hardware, Maine Glass, by AP&R Builders, and West Street Motors, as he collects the semi-feature tonight, looking to make his move into the qualifying heats next week and a chance to run in the Limited Sportsman main event. Next out will be the consolation event for the Limited Sportsman. The 3, Mike Mayetta Jr., the 96, John Mako, the 48, Tom Bragg, the 107, Doug Shores, the 93, Danny Palmer. Ready for a start out of turn 4 as the green flag flies. The end of the lineup, Larry Gelinas and Kerry Anderson. Only 8 cars to qualify out of this in this consolation event. Pee Wee Knight, your leader, followed by the 54, Rick Burnett. Then comes Darrell Ward, Mark Field, and the 86 of Robbie Herrick for the top 5. Once again, only 8 cars to qualify for the main event. And you can imagine how these drivers on the back end of this event are going to work in order to try to get up the spin in the 3-turn. It's Robbie Dorr backing off over the banking in the 3-turn. Have to see if he's able to keep the car under power. The car is staying in motion and will stay under green as leader continues to be the 111 of Pee Wee Knight, followed by the 54 Rick Furnett, the 72 of Mark Field, the 80 Darrell Ward, the 86 Robbie Herrick. Remember, only 8 cars to qualify, and it looks like the battle for 8th has Ross Johnson in the 34 and to his outside the 70 of Jeff Morgan, battling for the last qualifying event. Cars spin in the 4-turn. The 93 of Danny Palmer tangles with another car. Looks like the 50 of Alan Burraby. Tough luck night for Danny Palmer in the 93, usually a very strong runner as he spins the car in the 1-turn. Something definitely amiss on the 93. Generally a very strong runner here in the limited sportsman division, having more than his share of problems tonight. That'll bring out the caution flag once again with 5 laps down. Flagman Eddie Welch says we're ready to restart this consolation event with 6 laps down. Pee Wee Knight in the 111 on the front line with Rick Furnett in the 54. 8 cars to qualify from this consolation event and move on to the main event. Green flag flies as they race the front stretch. Pee Wee Knight with a slight advantage as they race the 1-turn. Then comes Furnett, Mark Field in the 72, the 86 of Robbie Herrick, the 80 of Darrell Ward. Then a side-by-side battle with Steve Carrier to the inside, Donnie Morris to the outside. Then another side-by-side battle with Ross Johnson to the inside and Jeff Morgan to the outside. Only 8 cars to qualify, and they'll be approaching the halfway mark this time by. Looks like the number 70 was the last qualified car, but he spins in the 4-turn, collects up several other cars, and that is definitely going to shake up the lineup in terms of qualified cars. Oliver involved in that, as is Mark Bernier in the 55, and the 70 finally gets restarted, but not until the yellow flag comes out, and that means caution situation once again. We will revert back to the last lap run under the green flag for a realignment. 8 laps down in this consolation event. Once again, it's Pee Wee Knight and Rick Furnett on the front line. 8 cars to qualify for the main event. Flagman Eddie Walsh on the stand looking for a start out of turn 4. Green flag is in the air, and once again, it's a battle with Knight to the inside, Furnett to the outside as they race the front stretch to turn 1. At turn 1, Knight takes over. And now it's a side-by-side battle with Mark Field in the 72 to the inside and Rick Furnett to the outside, battling for second. Then in third comes Robbie Herrick. Then Steve Carrier, the rookie out of New Hampshire. And a side-by-side battle shaping up with last week's feature winner in the number 75, that's Donnie Morse. But Steve Carrier's on the move as he challenges now to the inside of Robbie Herrick, trying to take over the 4th spot. Looks like the last qualified car may be the 69. You keep your eyes on them, only 8 cars to qualify. Meanwhile, it continues to be Pee Wee Knight showing the way in the 111. The 54 of Rick Furnett right at his back bumper. Then some distance back in 3rd place is Mark Field. Then in 4th comes the youngster Steve Carrier, trying to hold off 2 challengers now. Donnie Morse racing to the inside, and Robbie Herrick to the outside as the young rookie out of New Hampshire gets a lot of pressure from 2 experienced runners as they kind of put him in a sandwich and move to take the 4th and 5th places. That slides Carrier back to 6th place. and it looks like the 34. White flag is in the air as that will mean one lap to go, and continues to be Pee Wee Knight holding off the hard-charging Rick Frenette in the 54. Then Mark Field, Donnie Morse, Robbie Herrick. Checkered flag in the air as Knight captures the consolation event, holding off Rick Frenette. Then Mark Field, Donnie Morse, Robbie Herrick, Steve Carrier. Nice run by the rookie Steve Carrier as he qualifies for the main event, along with Darrell Ward, and it looked like possibly Ross Johnson. Back to trackside, Andy.
Thank you, Bruce. You folks probably saw the top 2 point holders from each of our 3 classes of racing here out looking over the models here in the model contest, and they have selected the top 3 model replicas of their choice. I will first start with third place in the 12 and under category. When we call your name, we'll ask you to stop down by here at trackside and pick up your third place trophy up through first place. We've especially asked the field boys to wait here for a moment because in third place, at 7 years of age, please welcome out Andrew Field. The runner-up in the 12 and under category for the model contest is a 12-year-old youngster who has built a replica of Billy Thompson's Limited Sportsman number 6, Steve Emery. And the first place award at 12 years of age, making a replica of Bob Randall's late model sportsman number 91, welcome out Jason Dudley. We'll bring the other 2 gentlemen out here. Our replica of Billy Thompson's car in the second place, you must be Steve Emery.
Yep.
Well, that's a nice looking car. You almost look like you're related to a Thompson, are you?
No.
Well, you look a lot like Billy. I can see why you went ahead and built the number 6, and it certainly does look nice. There's your second place trophy, and congratulations. And you must be our winner, Jason Dudley.
Yep.
Congratulations. Bob Randall's car. How much time did you put into that, do you know?
No.
You just started building.
Yep.
You did a nice job with it. Here is your first place trophy.
Yep.
Congratulations. Ladies and gentlemen, a nice round of applause for our 12 and under category winners. Guys, go ahead back to the grandstand, and thanks for bringing those out. In our 13 to 16-year-old category, beginning with third place, at age 16 and a representative of the Limited Sportsman number 96, welcome Tim LeClaire. The runner-up in our 13 to 16-year-old category, with a replica of the late model sportsman number 35, welcome Reggie Gilbert. And in first place in the age 13 to 16-year-old category, at age 16 with a replica of the late model sportsman number 17 of Al Brissett, welcome out Jimmy Brissett. You have a fire suit on. Are you driving out here tonight?
Yeah, Wildcat.
A Wildcat car. Well, this is a good way for you to start. You were our runner-up, and we congratulate you with that fine-looking piece of Paul Johnson's car.
Thank you.
Congratulations to you. You must be our first place winner. We'll hold on for just a second and go to our second runner-up with a third place finish with a replica of John Maycumber's car. Nice job for that, too. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Here is your runner-up trophy, or your third runner-up trophy. And our winner, and what a piece of work this is, you have all the crew members working around the car, you have air wrenches out working on the tires and jacks. Where did you find the people for this?
Well, I had them for a while, but they don't got many men or anything around no more.
You are Jimmy Brissett. Now, are you related to Al?
Yeah, I'm his little nephew.
Well, I'm sure he's going to be very proud of you. Congratulations, too, Jimmy, and here's your first place trophy. Thank you. And ladies and gentlemen, a nice round of applause for all of our model contest winners and all the participants. And we thank you. Bruce Elder, back to you, and we'll be out with our feature in just a moment.
Thank you, Andy. While we have a moment, officials say the drivers are set. Drivers, good luck to you all. Now, ladies and gentlemen, for those 4 most famous words in auto racing on the count of 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Gentlemen, start your engines. ladies and gentlemen, as they come out of the four-turn and start down the front stretch, let's give the drivers a nice wave off this evening. Wave your hand, your handkerchief, light your lighter if you have one. Let these late model drivers, you're sending them off with your best regards for a good feature event here tonight. They've got the fog to deal with in addition to all the other pressures. Gary Pulsiver and Bobby Babb on the front lane. Green flag is in the air. Bobby Babb looks to the outside of the 27 and takes over the lead as they enter the backstretch. Negotiating not only the field of cars, but the fog here tonight. An extra challenge for the late model sportsman drivers, and Bobby Babb leads them down for the first lap. Kurt Gary on the move on the outside, as is Glenn Cusack. Outside row looking to move here tonight. And it continues to be Kurt Gary working to the outside of the 27 of Gary Pulsiver. Pulsiver fights back on the inside out of the four-turn, retakes that second spot. His cars scatter on the front stretch. Andy Lude and the 85 of Ricky Harrison get together right out of the four-turn, and that'll bring out the caution flag as Lude is unable to keep his car under power and coast to a stop there in the number one turn. Will bring us back to a realignment. We're ready to restart here with one lap down. Looking for a start with Bobby Babb on the pole. Kurt Gary to his outside. Green flag is out, and Bobby Babb quickly retakes the lead at the start-finish line, followed by Kurt Gary. Then comes the 27 of Gary Pulsiver. Pulsiver slips back, and it's Cusack now, the third place competitor, and Mike Johnson on the move on the outside, as is Bobby Harrison as he works the outside. Bobby Babb putting some distance on the second place car of Kurt Gary. Mike Johnson trying to work his way around the 27 of Gary Pulsiver as he races the backstretch to the three-turn. He has his car just about by the 27, completes the pass out of turn 4 and takes over the fourth place. Now the battle is for fifth with Pulsiver to the inside and Bobby Harrison working to the outside. Car spins in the 1 and 2 turn. Looked like the 88 of Carl Tame trying to refire the car and not able to do it, and the caution flag comes out. Cars get together in the 1 turn trying to get slowed down before they approach that 2-turn area. Four laps down, and we're ready to restart once again with Bobby Babb in the number 4 on the pole, and to his outside Kurt Gary in the number 88, bringing the field down to a start out of turn 4. Flagman Eddie Walsh, and the green flag is in the air. Bobby Babb once again retakes his lead. The challenger on the inside now is Glenn Cusack as he works to the inside of the 88 of Kurt Gary, and they race side by side down the backstretch. Mike Johnson in 4th place, looking for racing room at the rear bumper of Glenn Cusack, trying to take 3rd place as he works to the inside of Kurt Gary and around Kurt Gary in the 1 and 2 turn. And now the battle shaping up is for 5th with Gary Pulsiver and the 37 of Bobby Harrison working side by side for your top 5. Bobby Babb working his way out to a considerable lead over the 2nd place car of Cusack. Cars on the move. Paul Johnson, Bobby Libby, as they work to the outside of that inside lane, trying to advance to the front, and obviously having to do it kind of cautiously as the visibility is not quite as good as usual. Bobby Babb continues to show the way with the number 4 as he holds a 8 or 9 car length lead over the number 2 of Glenn Cusack. Then comes Mike Johnson now looking to the outside of Cusack as they race to the 3 turn. Mike Johnson, the 33. With some fiberglass hanging there off the right front from a little skirmish, but it doesn't seem to affect the running of the 33 as he seems to be turning the track very well as he continues to look to the outside of Glenn Cusack. Kurt Gary sitting there just waiting to see what's going to happen between the second and third place competitors. And he races to the inside of the 33 now at the end of the backstretch into the 3 turn. Backs off just a little bit as the 33 moves to the inside lane. Mike Mayetta and Paul Johnson still working the outside, trying to advance to the front. Guys have closed it up now to the back of the number 4 of race leader Bobby Babb. Continues to be Glenn Cusack in second. Mike Johnson, the third place competitor. Kurt Gary in fourth. And the 37 of Bobby Harrison rounds out the top 5. Bobby Babb beginning to stretch it out just a little bit on the second place car of Cusack. Mike Johnson right at the back bumper of Cusack is the top 5 that put some distance on Gary Pulsifer, and now Bobby Babb, Barry Babb, who's working to the outside lane trying to take the 6th place position. Pulsifer spins halfway down the backstretch, backs it into the infield. The rest of the cars seem to be okay. We will be approaching the halfway point next time by. And Bobby Babb begins to stretch out his lead once again as he races the backstretch to the 3 turn. He'll see the cross flags, meaning halfway. Cars continue in virtually the same order, with Babb continuing to put a little more distance on the rest of the pack as his car seems to be in a groove that works well, and he just appears to be able to maintain that 8 to 10 car length lead. Mike Johnson looks to the outside of Glenn Cusack once again as they race the backstretch to the 3 turn. Mike Johnson on the move. Kurt Gary has closed up the inside, so no place else for Johnson to go but to stay in that outside groove and try to overtake the second place car of Cusack. Glenn Cusack hanging on to the second spot with a challenger, Mike Johnson, to his outside and Kurt Gary to the back bumper along with Bobby Harrison. Mike Johnson again trying to the outside of Cusack. This time it looks like he just may do it in the 3 and 4 turn. He races to the outside. Still trying to work his way by as they race the front stretch to the 1 turn. Slight advantage to the 33 of Mike Johnson. Out of the 2 turn down the backstretch, Johnson takes over the second spot. Now he'll set his sights on the 4 of Bobby Babb. 22 laps down in this, 23 laps down now in this 35 lap late model sportsman feature. And now the second place competitor, defending late model champion Mike Johnson, looks to rein in the number 4 of Bobby Babb. Yellow flag comes out. Ready to restart out of turn 4. Babb and Johnson on the front line. Coming down to a start out of turn 4. Green flag is in the air, and Bobby Babb retakes his lead at the front stretch in turn 1. They race turn 2 to the backstretch. Mike Johnson looks to the outside. Glenn Cusack working to the inside. And the leader continues to be Bobby Babb in the number 4. Mike Mayetta on the move in the number 13 as he races to the outside of the 37 of Bobby Harrison and now looks to the outside of the number 2 of Glenn Cusack. The number 13 has covered a lot of ground tonight as he works his way up through the pack and seems to be able to make that outside groove work. Johnson now moved to the inside of the number 4 out of the 2 turn. Down the backstretch, it's now Mike Johnson with a bid to the inside of the number 4 of Babb. Mike Johnson out of the 4 turn takes the lead away from Babb as they Crossed the finish line at lap 26. Your new leader is Mike Johnson. Now Glenn Cusack looks to the inside of the number 4 as Babb goes a little wide, trying to hold the car down, but car apparently has developed a little push in the number 4. And now he is looking at Glenn Cusack in the inside groove, and Babb's car continues to push a bit to the outside, opening up that inside lane first for Mike Johnson, then for Glenn Cusack, now for the 37 of Harrison, and the car of Babb's is evidently giving up. Something giving up in the number 4. A tough break for Bobby Babb as he looks to take the car to the pit area as it just began to kind of push to the outside. Your leader, Mike Johnson, with about a 8 or 10 car length lead to spin by the 27 of Gary Pulsifer, and he gets the car underway. Next time by, it'll be 5 laps to go as Gary Pulsifer refires the 27. Your leader continues to be Mike Johnson with a comfortable lead over Glenn Cusack. Then comes Bobby Harrison. Paul Johnson, now your 4th place competitor, and Kenny Lund has worked his way to 5th. Trying to work his way back up the outside again is Mike Mayetter as he races to the outside of the 85 of Bobby Harrison. Ricky Harrison, rather, in the 85. Bobby Harrison in the 37, your 3rd place car. 35 working to the outside of Kenny Lund as Kenny Lund makes a strong challenge to the inside now, trying to move from 5th place to 4th. And he races to the inside of the 35 once again. It'll be 2 to go next time by. Flagman Eddie Walsh says 2 laps to go next time by. Mike Johnson with a comfortable lead. Glenn Cusack holding off Bobby Harrison, and then a side-by-side battle between Kenny Lund and Paul Johnson. White flag is in the air, meaning 1 lap to go. The battle continues to be for that 4th place position. Paul Johnson working the outside lane, Kenny Lund to the inside lane as they race to the back bumper to the 37 of Bobby Harrison. Checkered flag flies for Mike Johnson in the number 33. Then comes Glenn Cusack, Bobby Harrison, Paul Johnson, and Kenny Lund for the top 5 in tonight's running of the late model sportsman feature. Mike Johnson coasts down to collect the colors and make his parade lap, collecting his 2nd feature event of the 1990 season. And Mike Johnson is, of course, the defending late model sportsman champion coming out of the 1989 season. Mike Johnson driving the Dick Fowler prepared late model sportsman, sponsored in part by R.J. Grondin. Main parts and machine. And definitely a car to look for tomorrow afternoon in the running of the Oxford Beech Ridge Challenge. One of the strong late models in the Northeast, certainly the late model of Dick Fowler and Mike Johnson. We'll be going trackside in just a few moments for a chance to hear from tonight's late model sportsman feature winner. And let's go trackside to Andy Cusack. Andy?
Thanks, Bruce. Welcome into victory lane, Mike Johnson.
Thank you, Andy.
Mike, congratulations. Not only did you have competition hot on the track, you had to compete with the fog as well. How was it out there?
It's not too bad. As long as it don't get any worse, I think we'll be all set.
What about running under caution? Is that making the track slick then?
Not bad, but you can tell there's a little bit of something there. It's damp air, there's no question.
Well, the car looks like it's picked up pretty well tonight. You started off a little bit slow, but quite a charge at the end. What happened?
The car came into it, that's all I can tell you.
Well, it sure did, and it has paid off on your 2nd victory of the year. Clayton Tem presents you with the trophy from Rivco, our sponsor tonight.
Thank you, Clayton.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again, a nice round of applause for Mike Johnson. At this time, just prior to our modified feature race, we will ask for you to take out your 50-50 tickets.
The number 90, driven by rookie Kevin Tobias, on the pole for the running of tonight's feature event. To his outside, the 24 is driven by Jim Emerson from Wyndham. The number 6, second on the inside, is driven by Clint Rowell. To his outside, the number 5 is driven by Pete Rondo. The number 80 on the inside is Scott Watts out of Seabrook, New Hampshire. To his outside, the 89 is Spike Matitol. Having climbed out of his late model machine is Mike Mayetta. To his outside, the number 3 is Lou Weatherby. The number 21 is Dave Lamprin. Number 2 is driven by Jim Copeland. Tobias and Emerson coming down out of turn 4. Flagman Eddie Walsh didn't like the looks of that start, puts out the yellow flag and the yellow lights go on as we'll look for a realignment. Flagman Eddie Walsh looking for an even start out of turn 4. Start at turn 4, Tobias and Emerson on the front line. Green flag is out. Slight advantage by Tobias as they race the front stretch to turn 1. Emerson fighting back on the outside. They're side by side out of turn 2 down the backstretch. Tobias to the inside, Emerson to the outside. As they lead a tight pack of modifieds down to lap 1, it's Tobias leading the way. Then comes Clint Rowell now to the inside in the number 6 as he gets out of shape in the 2 turn. Tries to collect up the car and can't quite do it before he turns it about. And that will bring out the caution flag as the car sits entering the backstretch out of turn 2. And that will bring us back to a quick realignment. The rookie Kevin Tobias on the pole in the number 90. To his outside, the youngster from Wyndham, Jimmy Emerson, behind the wheel of the number 24, bringing the modified field down for a start at turn 4. Green flag is out. Once again, Tobias jumps into a quick lead, and right to his bumper is Pete Rondo in the number 5. The 89 of Spike Mattertall battling for third, and he takes it down the backstretch as Emerson is battling on the outside now with Willie Elliott, who's worked the inside groove. Leader continues to be Tobias with the challenger Pete Rondo working the outside lane. Kevin Tobias doing a nice job of holding on to the lead as a lot of pressure is put to the back and the outside of that youngster in the number 90. And Pete Rondo, the challenger now on the outside, has to back off just a little bit, and your leader continues to be Kevin Tobias. Then comes the number 89 of Spike Mattertall, makes his way under the 5 of Rondo and takes over second spot. Tom Oliver on the move as he dives to the inside of the number 5 and works his way into third. Sparks coming from the rear of the Oliver car. Hard to tell whether that's anything serious or not. I'm sure the officials will keep an eye on that. Rondo fights back on the outside now as he looks to take over third place on the outside. Battling now, nice move by Rondo and Willie Elliott also working to the outside. Sparks continue to fly from beneath the 29 of Oliver, and it appears that he's slowed just a little bit. Hard to tell if something's dragging or just what that is, but something is evidently hanging down and dragging on the number 29. A tough break for Tommy Oliver. Something is amiss under the suspension there of the 29. Appears to be something off the right rear of the car that's down there dragging on the track. We'll have to see just how much of a problem that is for him. Meanwhile, up front, it continues to be Kevin Tobias doing a nice job as he has a side-by-side battle in his rear bumper. The 89 of Spike Mattertall on the inside, the 5 of Pete Rondo to the outside. Rondo now works to the outside right rear of the 90 of Kevin Tobias. On the move also is the F80 of Scott Watts as he looks to follow Rondo on that outside groove. Willie Elliott momentarily boxed in as he looks to the back bumper of 2 cars right in front of him and no place to go. Bobby Gahan on the move also, as is the 3 of Lou Weatherby, works to the outside of the 29 of Oliver. Cars very tight, very tight. Rondo continues to look to the outside of the number 90. Lou Weatherby on the move now as he works to the outside of the 29 of Oliver. Weatherby now to the outside of the 21 of Lamprin. Cars spin into the infield. Looks like the Scott Watts automobile as cars negotiate around that. Okay, it'll be halfway this time by. Weatherby continues to work to the outside of Oliver. Meanwhile, up front, a side-by-side battle shaping up with the 90 of Tobias to the inside, the 5 of... Cars get out of shape in the 1 turn. The Weatherby automobile and the Looked like the 21 of Lampron came together, and it took both cars to the infield momentarily. Both get to a nice job of bringing the cars back. Meanwhile, up front, it's still a side-by-side battle with the bias to the inside. Rondo working the outside. Rondo now on the move down the backstretch as he captures the lead going into the 3-turn. Nice move by Pete Rondo as he works his way to the outside of the 90 of Kevin Tobias and takes the lead. Moves Tobias back to second. Spike Matitol in third. Bobby Gahan has worked his way to fourth. Then comes the 29 of Tommy Oliver and the 61 of David Pinkham for the top half dozen modifieds. Sparks continue to fly from beneath the 29 of Tommy Oliver, and it's difficult to tell just what that is. Officials must feel that it's nothing dangerous, but I'm sure it makes the competitors wonder a little bit when they come up to the back end of that 29. Pete Rondo has put some distance on the second place car of Tobias now, who has a challenger to his outside now. Spike Matitol looked out and then tucked back in. Bobby Gahan now works to the back bumper of Matitol. Bobby Gahan on the move into the 3-turn as he looks to the outside of the 89 of Spike Matitol. Out of the 4-turn, goes a little wide, has to kind of reset himself for another shot as he works out of the 2-turn down the backstretch. Look to the outside of the Spike Matitol machine again. In the 3-turn, it is Bobby Gahan trying to make the move on the outside. Flagman Eddie Walsh with the 2 flags in the air says it'll be 2 to go next time by. Pete Rondo has just run away from the second, and in fact the rest of the pack as they bunch up behind the number 90. 2 laps to go. Bobby Gahan now on the move as he works to the outside of the number 90 of Kevin Tobias. Side by side down the backstretch. Tobias to the inside, Gahan to the outside. Slight advantage to Gahan. White flag is in the air, meaning 1 lap to go. Tobias maintaining that second spot, trying to hold off the veteran Bobby Gahan as Gahan works to the outside of the number 90. Down the backstretch once again, Tobias still hanging on a second place. Checkered flag is in the air for Pete Rondo, picking up his feature event tonight. Then the 90 of Matitol. As Pete Rondo comes down and collects up the checkered flag for the parade lap. Already his 3rd feature win here in the modified division. Only driver to capture 3 feature wins. In fact, the only other double winner is Lou Weatherby. So Pete Rondo doing a nice job in the Ken and Janet Matthews owned 88 Cavalier, sponsored by Portland Pump and Team Auto Body. We will be going trackside in just a few moments for a chance to hear from tonight's modified feature winner.
Pete, come on over here. Congratulations on a 3rd win this year.
Thank you very much, Andy. I had to work for that one.
You sure did. Any competition with the fog out there for you tonight? It seems to have moved around some.
No, it cleared up pretty good. Pretty good right now.
You're running against a rookie out there, Kevin Tobias, and he looked like he was giving you quite a run for the money. How is he to work with?
Well, he ran a good race. I had to skip the whole race real bad. And couldn't gain him coming down the straightaways, but get him in the corners.
This is your 3rd win of the season, which makes you actually the winningest driver out here so far in any of the divisions. You've just had an excellent year, especially now in your sophomore year of racing in the modified division. What's it look like for the rest of the year?
Well, I hope to be back here a lot more.
Well, at this rate, you're going to be. I don't have any question about that. Clayton Tem has the presentation for you from the Rivco Stores, our sponsor tonight. There's the trophy for you to go along with your 1st place win.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
What is up with the car? Why is it going so exceptionally well, anyhow, when the others are having so much trouble being consistent?
I'm not sure what's the matter with the other guys, but between my brother and I and the rest of the crew, we've been hitting the setup just right every night, so I hope they keep it going.
Family operation is working out well. Congratulations. Ladies and gentlemen, another nice round of applause for Pete Rondo. Bruce?
Thank you, Andy. Next on the agenda will be the main event for the limited sportsman. The 61 is Scott Johnson. The 54 is Rick Furnett. The 28 is Kevin Durgan. The 111 is Pee Wee Knight. The number 2 is Brad Layton. And the 75, last week's feature winner, is Donnie Morse. For your starting lineup for tonight's 30-lap limited sportsman feature event. Blackman Eddie Walsh says we are ready to start at turn 4 with Sprague on the inside, Rodney Moody to the outside, bringing the field down to a start out of turn 4. Green flag is out, and Sprague has a quite slight advantage at the start-finish line. They race side by side to turn 1. Sprague with a slight advantage as they race turn 2. Washburn making a bid on the inside, trying to challenge Moody for that second spot. Lloyd Washburn in the number 60 now races to the inside. Tangles with the number 8 as he has a flat tire coming right out of turn 4. Tough break for Lloyd Washburn as he blew a tire coming out of the 4 turn, took him right to the outside, and he'll head to the pit area. Meanwhile, up front, Dave Sprague, your leader. And here comes Steve Howard in the 03, the impressive runner in the heat earlier in the evening. Then comes the 76 of Glidden, the 65 of Yargo, and the 08 of Rodney Moody for the top 5. On the move, John McMullen in the 100 as he works to the outside of Ward, sets his sights on the 5th place contender, Moody. Also on the move is the 38 of Beaver Norton as he races down the backstretch looking to the outside of Darrell Ward. Meanwhile, up front, Steve Howard has gained on the number 1 of Dave Sprague. Steve Howard in the 03, right at the back bumper of the number 1 of Sprague. They put some distance on the 3rd place competitor, Earl Glidden out of Westbrook. 2-car race up front. Another 2-car race shaping up for the 3rd spot between Glidden and Rocky Yargo in the 65. Then a 3-way battle shaping up for the 5th place, which is held by John McMullen. He has Beaver Norton working to the outside and Rodney Moody to the inside. Norton makes a bid to the outside now of the 100, trying to overtake that 5th place position. Meanwhile, up front, Dave Sprague continues to hold a slight advantage over Steve Howard. Top cars back in the pack, trying to find a way to the inside or outside as they continue to battle for racing room. In this large field of cars, a real challenge for the High Point men to work their way to the front. Cars like last week's feature winner 75, the 111 of Pee Wee Knight, the Z28 of Kevin Durgan, the 2 of point leader Brad Layton, having a lot of territory to cover before they can get up in contention. He manages to get his tire changed, but obviously has lost some laps. So the 60 is a lap car that the leaders will have to work their way around. Blackman asked the lap car to stay in one lane, stay to the inside, give the leaders racing room. Sprague works to the outside now, and Steve Howard kind of gets hung up behind the 60 of Lloyd Washburn. And will have to work his way to the outside now as Washburn moves right into the infield now with apparently something wrong with his car. Continues to be Dave Sprague. And now on the move, trying to take the 4th place position is Beaver Norton as he works to the outside of Rocky Yargo. Down the backstretch, the car on the move is the 38 of Beaver Norton as he races to the outside now of the 65 and sets his sights on the 3rd place competitor Earl Glidden in the 76. Beaver Norton doing a nice job working the outside, the number 38. as he continues to advance to the front. Now he's beside the 76 of Glidden, challenging for third place. They'll be approaching the halfway mark next time by. Leader continues to be the number 1 of Sprague. Second place, the 03 of Steve Howard. And now a nice bit of driving by Viva Norton as he takes over third spot. Sets his sights now on the 03 of Steve Howard and the number 1 of Dave Sprague. Rocky Iago now trying to make the outside groove work for him as he looks to work to the outside of the 100 of John McMullen. Couldn't quite do it that time by. Tucks back in behind the 100. '78 of Dave Fecto also on the move in the outside groove. Viva Norton has reined in the 03 of Howard now at the 3 turn. Viva Norton looking to the outside of the 03. 60 once again gets the passing flag, letting him know the leaders are approaching him once again. Car on the move is definitely the 38th of Viva Norton as he has raced now to the back bumper of the second place competitor Steve Howard. And Howard is right at the back bumper of your leader, Dave Sprague. Viva Norton mounting the challenge now down the backstretch as he looks to the outside of the first and second place cars now, racing the 4 turn. Working to the outside of the 03 of Steve Howard. Keep your eyes on the 38 of Viva Norton as he has covered a lot of ground here tonight. Closed the big gap that these leaders had on him, so he is definitely running strong. Steve Howard now right at the back bumper of the number 1 of Sprague. Howard is boxed in now. He has Viva Norton to the outside. He has Sprague in front of him and knows that he's boxed in as he races right to the back bumper of the number 1 of Sprague. Cars continue to battle back in the pack for positions. Viva Norton now on the move as he looks to the outside of the race leader, Dave Sprague. Viva Norton on the move out of the 2 turn down the backstretch as he works to the outside of Sprague. Down to the 3 turn there side by side. They'll have the lapped car of Washburn to deal with as flagman Eddie Walsh lets Washburn know that the leaders are approaching him. Strong run by Viva Norton in the 38 as he's raced all the way to the leader, to the outside of race leader Dave Sprague. Even down the backstretch to the 3 turn with Sprague on the inside, Viva Norton to the outside. Even out of turn 4 down the front stretch, Viva Norton takes a slight advantage. Pretty heavy competition right back through the pack. Viva Norton on the move now as he tries to capture the lead as they approach turns 3 and 4. Cars very even. Sprague to the inside and Viva Norton to the outside. Flagman gives the black flag to the number 60. He's evidently experiencing some mechanical problems and just unable to run at the competition. Dave Sprague does a nice job of hanging on to the lead in that lap and manages to hold off the hard-charging Viva Norton. About 4 laps to go as they are in the 26th lap of this 30-lap feature event. Dave Sprague continues to show the way, and now he has a side-by-side battle going on at his back bumper as Steve Howard now has kind of reset himself and challenged Norton to the inside. Cars touch between the 1 and 2 turn, and that gives your race leader a little breathing room as the battle shaped up for second between the 03 and the 38. 2 laps to go this time by. 2 laps to go. Dave Sprague has done a nice job of holding off the hard-charging Steve Howard. Here comes Dave Fecto now as he has raced to third, getting by the 38 of Norton. Looking now to the outside. White flag is in the air. Car on the move appears to be the 78 of Dave Fecto as he looks to the outside of the 03 of Howard now. Bevan Norton back on the move as they look to mount a challenge from the outside lane. Last lap, ladies and gentlemen. And it continues to be Sprague. Now a side-by-side battle for second. Checkered flag flies. And Dave Sprague, Steve Howard, Dave Fecto, Bevan Norton, and the 76 of Earl Glidden. Goes down to collect up the checkered flag, his first feature event. Sponsored by Garrett's Service and Charlie's Auto Body. Owned by Sharon Sprague. Happy young man tonight, as best I can tell, collecting up his first limited sportsman feature event of his young career. I believe he started last year. And certainly put it all together here tonight, as he managed to hold off some hard chargers and collect a limited sportsman main event. Dave Sprague returns the colors to flagman Eddie Walsh. And you'll get a chance to hear from the youngster in just a few moments. We will go trackside.
Just an inkling, Dave. Congratulations.
Thank you, Andy.
Just an inkling. You're happy about this win.
Boy, I sure am. It's the first one. The guys did a heck of a job getting this car together for me. Jim Brown, Tommy Pooler, Gary Brown, Darren, Stephen, they all done a hell of a job, I'll tell you.
This is your second year of racing?
Second year, yeah.
This has kind of been a long time coming for you, hasn't it been?
Sure has a lot of work to get up front.
Have you enjoyed this as much as you thought you would, having started last year?
Oh, yeah, it's everything I expected. I was into racing for about 12 years before that with Bob Bilodeau.
Well, I don't want you to look at your car right now, but I think you're going to have to do something when you get back to the pit. You know, it just doesn't matter now, does it?
No, it doesn't matter at all. Let us smoke.
Well, Dave, congratulations.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome, Mr. Sprague, and we congratulate you once again. Ladies and gentlemen, a nice round of applause for Dave Sprague. Bruce?
Of the Wildcats ready to do battle, as you can see, lined up in Dick Dion. 99, Troy Leach. We're ready for a start out of turn 4. Green flag is in the air. And it's the 65 of Wayne Marshall trying to hold off the 00, Samuel Reisel. Green is out. And the battle up front is between the 29 of James Fitz and the 65 of Wayne Marshall. On the tail end is Joe Rosati. Your leader down the front stretch is the 29, that's James Fitz. And second place is the 65 of Wayne Marshall. Cars tangle on the backstretch, and a little difficult to tell whether they're going to all drive away from that, as it looks like it's going to bring out the red flag of the backstretch littered with several automobiles. Bring us back to a quick realignment. Ready to restart tonight's B team of the Wildcats. Green flag is out. From a standing start out of turn 2, it's the number 29. With an impressive run so far tonight, Jim Fitz leading the way. The 87 is Michael Ramsey. In second place, then comes the 65. That is Wayne Marshall. Brian Hanscom has worked his way up to challenge for fourth place in the number 1 as he works to the inside of the 65 of Wayne Marshall. But the leader continues to be the 29 of Fitz. Then comes the 87, the 65, the number 1. Your top 4 cars. Car to keep your eyes on, the number 1 on the backstretch of Brian Hanscom. He's the defending point leader. as he challenges now for second place, racing between cars out of the 3 and 4 turn, trying to overtake the 87 of Michael Ramsey. And he does at turn 1, goes a little wide. That'll give Ramsey a chance again on the inside, but he's not able to take advantage of that. And second place now is in the hands of Brian Hanscom out of Westbrook. And he'll now set his sights on the race leader, the number 29, driven by James Fitz out of Hollis. Cars tangle off the 4 turn. We'll have to see if they're all able to continue under their own power. Number 1 of Hanscom closing in on the 29 of Fitz on the backstretch. As they race the backstretch, it looks like Hanscom going to the outside is taken over the lead at turn 3 and 4. Brian Hanscom, your new leader in the number 1 right here down the front stretch. He tangles, however, and gets around sideways, unable to straighten the car out. And it looks like the 65 now for the 29. Probably be back at the front. We'll have to see when the dust settles here. 65, I would guess, is the leader now. 29 working right in over the speed bumps, trying to retake the lead. 65, Wayne Marshall out of Gardner, your leader. Then comes the 29, driven by James Fitz. Out of the 4 turn down the front stretch. 65 is your leader, closely pursued now by the 29, as they do a nice job of battling to the outside of a bunch of cars there out of the 2 turn down the backstretch. Way up high now in about the 4th groove, where race cars don't usually try to race, but these Wildcats do. 65, your leader. Car stopped in the 3 turn, and that will bring out the red flag. He gets it going, but we have another car sitting on the backstretch at the end of the backstretch. Got cars sitting off the 4 turn also. So it'll take a few moments to get those cars moved to a safe area. Green flag is out to restart the Wildcat feature. Battle up front between the 65 and the 29. Cars get all out of shape in the 3 and 4 turn. 29, your leader. Moisture perhaps from the fog might be part of the problem. The cars are heavy. Looks like the 2 perhaps has a flat tire. Leader continues to be the 29, driven by James Fitz. Then it looks like the 13, that's Steve Clough. On the move once again is Brian Hanscom in the number 1, as he has made up a lot of ground after spinning in the 1 turn. Leader down the front stretch once again, the 29. Then it looks like perhaps the 13, although 9 on the leaderboard. 9 is driven by Dick Dione out of Gorham. Then the 65, that's driven by Wayne Marshall. Caution and red flag comes out once again, bringing the cars to a realignment, as we have some disabled cars that officials say are in a dangerous position. You're going to have to move them. Well, green flag is out once again. And And it looks like the number 13 on the restart jumps into a quick lead. The 13 is driven by Steve Clough. Steve Clough is from Wells. And he was able to jump ahead of the 29. Leaderboard shows the 29. We'll have to wait and see it. No, now it shows the 13. 29 in second, 29 again, James Fitz will be trying to battle back. But right now it's all Steve Clough in the 13 as he continues to show the way. Brian Hanscom on the move in the number 1 once again. He's made up a lot of ground as he works down the backstretch now. Scorers tell us that the 29 is the leader. Evidently the 13 is a lap down, so 29 is the lead car. Out of the 2 turn down the backstretch, he's actually battling with a lap car. Car dives into the infield there, the 33. The 33 is driven by Darrell Morrill out of Freeport. Leader continues to be the number 29. As 29 races the backstretch. They tell us the 13 is a lap car. White flag is out, meaning only 1 lap to go. Leader number 29 races the 2 turn now. Looks to a whole bunch of cars down the backstretch. A spin by number 64 right here at the front stretch. Hopefully he'll be able to keep that going. Checkered flag is in the air now for number 29, the B team winner here this evening. A lot of cars having trouble keeping them straight here tonight as perhaps moisture is on the track. The 29 once again is James Fitz out of Hollis. We'll be going trackside in just a few moments. A chance to hear from tonight's winner of the B Team Wildcat race.
James, congratulations.
Thank you, Andy.
Heck of a nice job tonight, and certainly not a stranger here in the Wildcat Victory Circle, are you?
No, not really. No.
You won the original Wildcat Championships, did you not?
The first one, yeah.
And how did you fare last year?
7th.
Oh, 7th place. Well, this year, this is probably going to give you a pretty good jump to boost your point standings up there. Do you know where you're standing now?
This is my first point right here. I didn't finish last week.
Oh, but this is your 2nd race of the year?
Second race, yeah.
Well, that's not bad for a 2nd outing, and we congratulate you.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, a nice round of applause again for James Fitz. We thank you all for being here with us tonight. It looks like we beat the fog, at least most of the way. Bruce Elder, back to you.
Thank you, Andy. We'll remind you folks that you are welcome to come out on the Speedway if you'd like to stay around for a bit. And once again, on behalf of all of us here at Beech Ridge Motor Speedway, thanks for being with us and good night.